The first moments of the morning carry a weight that often goes unnoticed. When the body awakens and the mind begins to stir, there is a sacred opportunity to choose where the heart will turn. Many people rush immediately into the noise of the day, reaching for the phone, checking messages, or worrying about responsibilities that are waiting. But the soul finds its true rest and its true beginning when the very first thought is directed toward the one who gave the breath of life. The opening of the eyes is a reminder that God has extended mercy for another day, and such mercy should not pass without gratitude. To put God first in the earliest moments is to acknowledge that time itself belongs to Him, and that no task, no duty, no burden should be allowed to steal the honor that He deserves at the start of the day. When the morning begins with God, the heart is positioned under His covering. It is a declaration that the hours ahead will not be lived in self-reliance, but in complete dependence on His strength and wisdom. A whispered prayer before rising from bed can set the entire tone of the day, for the spirit becomes aligned with heaven's order before the world's chaos is given a chance to speak. A person who bows their heart before God in the stillness of the morning is like a tree planted by streams of water, it drawing nourishment before the heat of the sun comes. To miss that moment is to enter the day spiritually unarmed, but to seize it is to walk clothed in peace, assurance, and direction. The first moments also serve as a reminder of priorities. By offering them to God, one declares that he is not an afterthought or a lifeline only in trouble, but the center of all things. It is easy to let prayer be delayed until the middle of the day or postponed until evening. But when the morning belongs to God, everything else finds its rightful place. Worries are surrendered before they can grow. Plans are entrusted before they can overwhelm. And the heart learns to say, "Not my will, but yours." This act of devotion is not about length of time, but about sincerity of surrender. Even a few minutes of true communion with the Lord carry eternal weight. For in those minutes the soul is shaped, renewed, and directed. Every sunrise is a new invitation from God, a call to awaken, not just physically, but spiritually. To respond by turning first to Him is to proclaim that His presence matters more than anything the day may bring. It is a choice to silence distractions, to lift the heart in thanksgiving, and to receive strength for what lies ahead. The world will demand attention, but the one who gives the first moments to God rises above those demands, walking with a spirit anchored in peace and confidence that comes only from heaven. Acknowledging God's lordship is more than simply saying words of reverence. It is the posture of a heart that recognizes the sovereignty of the Creator over every detail of life. To declare Him as Lord is to accept that He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the ruler over both seen and unseen realms. Many rise each morning carrying the weight of their own plans, ambitions, and struggles. Yet to bow the heart in acknowledgement of God's authority is to lay all of these at His feet, admitting that without His will, nothing can stand. It is a confession that human strength, no matter how determined, is fragile and fleeting. But God's power is eternal and unshakable. This recognition is not meant to be abstract or distant. It is deeply personal. It's shaping the way one approaches decisions, relationships, and even the thoughts that fill the mind. When a believer acknowledges God as Lord, it is not only in the grand declarations of worship, but also in the quiet choices of obedience. It is the willingness to say, "You lead, and I will follow," even when the path is uncertain. The lordship of God is not dependent on whether one feels strong or weak. He remains Lord over both victory and trial. And the heart that bows to Him in both circumstances learns to trust beyond what the eyes can see. Acknowledging God's lordship each morning is like resetting the compass of the soul. The world is full of voices that compete for attention, offering distractions, temptations, and fears. But when the believer begins the day by declaring God's reign, those voices lose their power. The enemy thrives when people walk in self-dependence, but he trembles when the believer openly submits to God's authority. For where there is surrender to the lordship of Christ, there is protection, guidance, and wisdom that cannot be found anywhere else. Such acknowledgement also guards against pride. It reminds the heart that every breath, every opportunity, every blessing comes not by chance, nor solely by human effort, but by the hand of the one who rules heaven and earth. To live without this recognition is to risk walking in arrogance, believing that the day can be conquered by personal willpower alone. But when the lordship of God is placed first, humility flows naturally, and with humility comes grace. Grace to endure trials, grace to walk in righteousness, and grace to bless others with the same love that has been received from above. Every time the lips declare, "Lord." It is a declaration that He reigns over the body, the mind, the soul, and the future. It is to affirm that He is greater than any fear, stronger than any obstacle, and higher than any human authority. To start the day under His lordship is to walk through the hours with confidence that the steps are guided, the heart is protected, and the purpose of life is rooted in His divine spiritual alignment. For the day begins in the quiet surrender of the heart before the demands of the world take hold. When the sun rises and the body prepares for its tasks, the soul too must rise into its place of order under the authority of God. Just as a compass must be set to true north before it can guide, so the spirit must be directed toward heaven before it can walk steadily through the hours ahead. Without this alignment, the day can easily spiral into confusion, distraction, and wasted energy. But when the spirit is aligned with God from the start, There is clarity, strength, and peace that carries through every circumstance. To be aligned spiritually is to bring thoughts, emotions, and intentions into harmony with the will of the Father. The mind that is scattered finds focus when it is lifted in prayer. The heart that is restless is steadied when it remembers the promises of Scripture. The body that is weary is renewed when it acknowledges that its strength comes not from itself, but from the presence of God who sustains all things. This alignment is not an act of routine or ritual alone. It is a conscious decision to place God at the center, to allow His Word to set the tone, and to let His Spirit guide the steps of the day. Every morning offers countless directions the day could take, but alignment ensures that whatever path is walked will be walked with purpose. The believer who pauses to align with God chooses not to stumble blindly into the demands of work, relationships, or personal struggles, but to face them with the armor of faith already in place. This act is like tuning an instrument before it plays. If the strings are not set correctly, no matter how skilled the musician, the sound will be off. In the same way, a life not aligned to God will lack harmony, no matter how busy or productive the hours may seem. Spiritual alignment also opens the door for discernment. Many decisions arise unexpectedly throughout the day and without guidance. Choices can be clouded by emotions or pressured by circumstances. But when the Spirit is aligned, there is a sensitivity to the voice of God, a readiness to listen, and a calm assurance that the Lord will direct each step. It prevents haste, it silences fear, and it empowers the believer to walk steadily even through uncertainty. To align with God each morning is to invite His order into a world of disorder. It is to declare that the foundation of the day will not be worry or ambition, but faith and obedience. It is to stand firmly in the truth that the steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord, and that no matter what the hours bring, the heart remains anchored in the presence and guidance of the one who holds the day in His hands. Protection and guidance are among the greatest needs of every soul stepping into a new day. No one knows what awaits in the hours ahead, what challenges may rise, what temptations may appear, or what dangers may try to strike unseen. To put trust in one's own ability to handle these things is to walk unguarded in a world full of snares. But to begin the day by seeking God's protection is to walk under the covering of the Almighty. His hand becomes the shield against harm. His presence becomes the fortress that cannot be shaken. And His wisdom becomes the light that exposes every trap laid by the enemy. The believer who cries out for divine covering does not live in fear of what may come, but in assurance that no weapon formed against them will prosper when they are hidden in the shadow of the Most High. Guidance is just as essential as protection, for even when the body is safe, the soul can wander without direction if it is not led by God. Each decision, no matter how small, shapes the path of the day. And without the counsel of the Spirit, choices can easily fall into error. The heart that begins the morning asking for guidance admits that it cannot see beyond the present moment. But the Lord, who knows the end from the beginning, can direct every step. His word becomes the lamp to the feet and the light to the path, ensuring that the believer does not stumble in darkness. Even when obstacles appear, guidance allows the soul to walk confidently, knowing that detours and delays are not accidents, but part of a greater plan that only God can see. Protection and guidance also work together to keep the believer's heart pure. Protection guards against the arrows of temptation, the influence of negative voices, and the weight of unnecessary fear. Guidance ensures that the heart is not only kept safe, but is also moving forward in righteousness. A guarded heart without direction may remain stagnant, but a guided heart under God's protection advances in strength and faith. This is why the prayer for both is vital every morning. Keep me safe and lead me rightly. To seek these blessings from God is to acknowledge dependence on Him rather than on self. The proud man believes he can protect his own way, but the humble man knows that without God, even his strongest defenses can crumble. When a believer surrenders the day into God's hands, asking to be both shielded and directed, the soul finds peace. No matter what storms rise, the assurance of divine covering remains. No matter what crossroads appear, the assurance of divine guidance leads forward. In this way, the day is not ruled by uncertainty or fear, but by confidence in the one who surrounds his children as a wall of fire and who goes before them as the shepherd who never abandons his flock